What's up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling Pulse. I'm Partners Quad and Ryan. I am J-Man. We've got a very special edition of the Pulse for you guys. Haven't thrown one of these Pulse 10s at you in a long time. I think me and Ryan did that Moments to Change Wrestling History, like, good lord, a long time ago, back in the fall, I think. So we figured, being as it is WrestleMania season, WrestleMania time, just around the corner, we thought we would put together a kind of WrestleMania-oriented Pulse 10, and we're going to do our Pulse 10 WrestleMania matches. Now, the criteria, you've probably seen, obviously, top 10 match lists, or, people do videos and stuff like that. For us, because it fits who we are and what we look towards more, we love the huge moments. We love, the things that are so influential and, big in wrestling. But to us, obviously, the biggest thing that we really look towards is ability and quality in the ring. And that's one thing we're making this list, the criteria here, which is really match quality. And that's really what we're going off. You could have, just to say, if you, some of those old school kind of fans, you're not going to see Hogan and Andre on this list because match quality, not even close to what would be on our top 10 WrestleMania matches list. This is going to be match quality, and we had, like we did on our other Pulse 10, we came together, got about a list of 17 or so, narrowed it down to around 10, and then out of that 10, we individually made our own top 10 list, could have put them all together, and now we have our kind of combined list of our top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. And we're going to deliver it to you here. We'll obviously...
You have your 2 or 3 that you couldn't get on the list?
I can't remember.
Butterbean versus Bart Gunn.
That's a good one.
Butterbean versus Bart Gunn.
I got to throw... what was the one we got? Mickey James and...
Michigan one.
Yeah, Mickey James.
Yeah, those are moments.
Those are moments.
Pussy.
That is true.
Kicking ass.
Stop taking it, man. You can't avoid it, can you?
I have to take it. I have more pubes on my balls.
You look like a lumberjack off right now.
I have more pubes on my dick than you do right here.
If you guys want to,
I recently shaved.
If you guys want to contact Quaddy to have him just landscape your entire yard, he could cut down trees for you. He could prune.
I only landscape yards. I don't do any other kind of landscaping.
He could prune bushes. He'll try. He'll do whatever.
Did nobody give me props for the lumberjack offline? That was
good. I laughed at it. I did. I gave it a couple chuckles.
Right.
Chuckies.
I lost interest because it took you about 12 seconds to say it.
Speaking of losing interest, we're hoping we're not losing all our fans out there and viewers of this show. Like we said, we have our combined top 10 list. We had our individual ones, and we put it down into one list here. 10 WrestleMania matches, looking for match quality, overall kind of in the ring, get the shit done kind of stuff. We're not looking for the overall moments like the Hogan Andres, that kind of stuff. The Rock and Hogan's. We're looking for match quality, and that's what we have with our list here. We'll go over kind of our individual number ones. I can't remember if we ended up listing honorable mentions in the last video. I think we did. Like I said, once I get done editing and this and stuff and figure out our other list, which I think I threw away that list, but I'll remember once I finally think of it. We'll put that in the bottom, so check the description for all our honorable mentions and shit like that. But we're going to get this list started underway here with our number 10, which is Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 19. I know Ryan's favorite WrestleMania of all time. It is one of my favorites for sure. Overall, great show, and this one really cemented it as being, in the middle of the card. That show stealer match quality here was outstanding. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of Shawn Michaels on this list. That's just the way it is. But definitely here, coming back after his injury, people were maybe doubting if he could be, Mr. WrestleMania still. And there was no doubt at all once he got in there, which Chris Jericho, which the build to this was, I think, beautiful. I mean, having that to where they had the build of Chris Jericho saying how he wanted to be Shawn Michaels all the time. He wanted to be that next Shawn Michaels, and he stopped focusing on being the next Shawn Michaels and wanting to be the first Chris Jericho. And Shawn coming back and the great stuff that he did, and overall the storytelling in this match was great. Obviously the quality and the ring work in the ring was outstanding. The finish with going for the hug and then coming back and Jericho low blowing him and having just Shawn slide down, and kind of that whole old lion young lion kind of battle that they had there. Outstanding matchup, and is our number 10 WrestleMania match of all time.
Probably my favorite part about this whole thing was whenever Chris Jericho started mocking Shawn Michaels, because Chris Jericho grew up idolizing Shawn Michaels, and just that's what made this feud so good. And then the match just took the feud just straight and ran with it. So that's probably why it's number 10.
Yeah, match quality was great of this. I love the whole thing. Like I said, we're counting the actual match quality, but everything that surrounded this was great too. The kick, the low blow, the whole thing with Jericho. Jericho and Shawn are two of one of the top workers in wrestling history, so this was definitely a top quality match in my opinion.
Outstanding stuff there. We're not losing track on Shawn Michaels here. We have Shawn Michaels in yet another matchup with Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10, the infamous ladder match at number 9 here. What can we say about this? It's one of those influential matches that you look at like a Hogan and Andre, but the quality of it was there as well. And I know I fully believe this, and it's not a rip on Razor, Ramon, Scott Hall, whatever you want to say. He had some great matches, and in his heyday, he was a great worker as well. But I think, like Ric Flair said, Shawn Michaels went out there that night and he had a match with a ladder, and Scott Hall or Razor Ramon was incorporated into this, and he went out there and did things with the ladder that nobody's ever seen before. And really, I could see guys like Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, all those kind of guys that, revolutionized the TLC match and really revolutionized the ladder match as well. Watching that when they were young and, saying like, man, this is what I want to do. I could imagine going in there and doing that kind of stuff. And obviously what they did with the ladder matches in the future after this was outstanding. I know there was other ladder matches that were, as good as this, if not better, with Shawn and Razor, let alone, and the ones he had with Shawn and Bret were great as well. The other ones that Razor had as well. But this one at WrestleMania, the build to it with the double IC titles where Shawn left and had that suspension and kind of up in the air what went down there. Still the IC champion when he left, and he said, I'm not turning in the IC championship. I'm still the IC champ. So having that natural culmination with this ladder match, both the titles hanging up there, Razor coming out on top and the new IC champion in this matchup, but really influential to a lot of guys, and you could just see it with what ended up happening in the future, but outstanding matchup there, WrestleMania 10.
This is probably one of the most famous ladder matches in WrestleMania history, before all the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But it just pretty much show that Shawn can wrestle anybody in any aspect and actually have a decent match out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the one ladder match that really, I guess, solidified that as a match in wrestling history as something people want to see, as a spectacle. It's something you're going to see something crazy every time, and that leads into the TLCs and the Money in the Banks and all that. The quality was great, like I said, and it's just one of those matches that you go back and you look at and you're like, ahead of its time, and it really did wonders for Shawn Michaels' career.
Absolutely. Great stuff there. Number 8, we're not losing track of WrestleMania 10 here. We have another WrestleMania 10 match. We actually have the opening match between the two brothers, Bret and Owen Hart. Outstanding stuff here. I mean, it has to go down as the greatest opener to a WrestleMania in history. I mean, this was amazing and really kind of just caught everybody's attention. And I think everybody knew that Bret and Owen could have these kind of matches. Obviously, the amazing matches they had, the cage match they had at SummerSlam, I believe that year as well, was outstanding as well. Every time they get in the ring, it goes without saying what chemistry can do in a wrestling match, and that's what it does here. These guys have wrestled around their entire lives, going up and coming up in the wrestling business, being brothers, everything they did, and the quality that they produced in this opening match of WrestleMania 10 was outstanding and really a flawless matchup. And what was something to kick off that WrestleMania that really just shocked everybody, like, holy shit, I don't think anything's going to surpass that. And then having the ladder match that night, really some great stuff. And Bret come in later in the night, I think winning the title from Yokozuna, kind of shit they did at WrestleMania 9 where they had Bret lose the title to Yokozuna and then the shit with Hogan, but kind of the flashbacks to that. But this opening matchup just blew everybody away, it blew me away. Outstanding stuff. Bret Owen at WrestleMania 10, number 8.
I think this actually made Owen come out from behind the shadow of Bret and made actually realize that Owen's a good wrestler. And I've only seen parts and bits and pieces of this match, so I really can't bank off it. But what I've seen of it just shows that Owen can be a hell of a worker.
Yeah. Owen's been worked like that for years in Japan and everything, and he was just kind of waiting to get that moment to really show what he could do, and then Bret was perfect to get in there and hey, let me get you over in this match. Let's have a great match here. And this is not only one of my favorite WrestleMania matches, this is one of my favorite matches, period. I love the work in this, the technicality, the way they work. It's just such an old school type of match with, the Flair and with Bret, and then the whole situation with Owen doing the whole kind of, Super Junior type style where he kind of does a little bit more high flying type stuff than Bret, and they kind of styles just mesh so well. They've been brothers, like I said, for years. the match was so wonderful and definitely one of the best wrestling quality matches WrestleMania's ever produced.
Yeah, outstanding stuff there. Number 8. Another one we have here, number 7, another Shawn Michaels match. We have Shawn Michaels going up against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21. I was all over this match whenever it happened back in 2005. I know it was one that definitely stuck out on that card going into that WrestleMania. Just knowing that these guys do nothing but deliver. Every single time they get in the ring with anybody, they do not fail to produce the best quality work on that night, on that card, whatever it is, pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown, whatever the hell it is. They're the guy you look towards to have the best match and always deliver. That's what Shawn Michaels is. He's Mr. WrestleMania. He always delivers, and Kurt Angle is absolutely one of the best workers and professional wrestlers in history, and what the technicality that he brought to the aspect, and Shawn and his the style that he always brings, the high flying, the mat, the catch as catch can, classic kind of stuff that Shawn could always bring. Just produce an outstanding, show-stealing kind of matchup that we had here at WrestleMania 21 that kind of just randomly got thrown together, and they just knew that this was going to deliver, and it absolutely did. When you have Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle in the ring, it's going to deliver, and you put it on a scale like WrestleMania. That's what they did here in 2005. Outstanding matchup at WrestleMania 21.
With these two veterans in this match, you knew they weren't going to just skip through the match. They're going to go full-blown balls-to-the-wall match. Yep. So, having these two, this is probably one of my favorite matches in WrestleMania history. So,
yeah, definitely agree with that. And I love both these guys, against anybody else. But, putting them in the ring together, the expectations were extremely high for the match, and it definitely delivered. And they put on a great show-stealing match. I really can't say there's another match on the show that came near to this one. And, you get what you expect when you get these two in the ring.
Absolutely. Another where we could expect when they get in the ring to be some great stuff, we had these 3 teams. We had the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys. TLC 2 for the WWF Tag Titles at WrestleMania 17. My favorite WrestleMania of all time. And this one in the middle of the card is just something where you're like, how the hell is this just going to get overlooked? It can't get overlooked. With what they did in the past, WrestleMania 2000 with the triple ladder match, we knew the future was going to be bright as hell with all these guys getting in there and putting on these just innovative, creative, amazing, just breathtaking matches. And every time they get in there, and the TLC at SummerSlam that they had still just blows my mind. Just every time I see that, it feels like it's fresh today. And that was 10, 12 years ago or whatever. And it just still blows my mind. And what they did here, capitalizing on what, after the triple ladder match, after TLC at SummerSlam in 2000, and having this with these 3 teams, I mean, this was just outstanding. And I loved how, being an Edge and Christian guy, I loved how all these ended up with Edge and Christian coming out on top and, being victors in this one. And just the spots in this alone speak for itself. I mean, the stuff to the outside, adding in Lita, the kind of stuff that she did. Just some outstanding stuff in this match, and just one of the best ladder matches in history, which is TLC 2 at WrestleMania 17.
If you look at all the names of those matches, all of them are still, or besides Edge, all of them are still currently wrestling.
Yeah. So
it just shows that something like a TLC match can live, and still people still talk about it to current day. So
definitely one of the most exciting matches in, I would say, wrestling history, not just WrestleMania. I think a lot of people, I think sometimes in wrestling you capitalize on a lot of things that are popular nowadays. Like, TNA wanted to jump on the whole Jersey Shore thing, which was a terrible idea. But at the time, WWE jumped on the whole idea of the X Games and came up with this whole concept of all this, tables, chairs, people flying around, doing crazy moves all over the place. You had the right components, you had the right guys at the right time, the right match. And this match, itself is definitely a spectacle. And you look at it, I just don't see another 3 teams ever having a TLC like this. It seems to me to be hard to recreate that moment. That match is just, it's probably going to be arguably considered the greatest spot match, one of the greatest spot matches of all time, I think.
Every time they got in there, it seemed like it was that way. We have another triple threat here at number 5, getting into the top 5. We have a triple threat match from WrestleMania 20 for the World Championship featuring Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. Obviously, this one, Chris Benoit winning his first World Championship in WWE, obviously. Outstanding stuff here, and really just something that kind of everybody could expect this to happen. Everybody kind of was expecting maybe Triple H come out because he always came out on top, but having, obviously Benoit come out as a new champion, the celebration in the end with, Benoit and Eddie, the guys that were thought of as being forever mid-carders and coming up to, show the ability that they had to be top of the card and top of the company kind of guys, and both being WWE and World Champion at the end of that night. And this triple threat was outstanding. Obviously, when you get in there with Tripp and Shawn, the stuff that they could do, especially around that time where they're really using that kind of like blood feud kind of aspect of what they were doing after they did it SummerSlam 02. They had the last man standing match before this at Royal Rumble 04, and then going into this triple threat after Benoit winning the Rumble. And this is outstanding stuff, and really is cemented as one of the best triple threats of all time. Definitely WWE's realm. We've been talking about obviously the triple threat from Vengeance 2002 with The Rock, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle, which is amazing as well. To me, this one stands a little bit higher than that, being as it was at a WrestleMania, and being the quality that was done in here, and adding in all the spots, the outside, the blood and everything, and kind of adding the color to the matchup that really that we miss today, and we get to see it with these kind of matches here, and a great finish to this WrestleMania, and Benoit coming out on top in this outstanding triple threat match at WrestleMania 20.
This is my favorite WrestleMania. Just because of everything that went on, especially with this match, and then Kane and Taker, or Taker's turn and all that. There's everything in it, but just Benoit winning this, like Jamin said, just coming back and winning this for the first time, and win the Rumble, and just having the aspect of facing Shawn and Tripp in it. Two veterans in it, two veteran top card guys, so it's nice seeing Benoit, especially with the ending with Eddie.
Yeah. Definitely, when you talk triple threats in WWE, this is top tier, up there, like you said, with the Vengeance one. Everything set around this, the whole, storyline build up to it and everything was definitely added. But the match quality was outstanding, and, you wanted Benoit to win, and you felt it, and it really was just one of those matches and those moments that you were just like, that's how that was supposed to be, and that felt right.
Yep.
And great match, and definitely, like I said, one of the, if not the best triple threat in WWE's history, quite possibly the best.
Yep. Next up, we have the Submission I Quit match. We couldn't figure out exactly what it is. They said like Submission I Quit whenever I ended up watching the DVD, but basically the submission match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13. The match that made Stone Cold Stone Cold. I know he was playing the character and he had everything underneath him, but he needed that last little bit to really put it over the top. Outside of the amazing King of the Ring promo after winning the King of the Ring with Jake the Snake, and outside of everything with that, this WrestleMania match really cemented him as he's going to be that guy. And having him to where he doesn't tap, he doesn't quit, he just goes down for the blood loss and passes out. And, Bret, I really think it was important to how Bret was at that time coming back in and kind of, going against all the fans that he's had, and Stone Cold being that every kind of guy that everybody could get behind, and having Bret the way he was, Austin the way he was, and culminating in this matchup that really, Stone Cold, watching his DVD going into it, he wasn't expecting it to be the submission match. He's like, why the hell is this a submission match? I'm going in there with Bret Hart, and I don't have but like 2 or 3 submission holds. What the fuck can I do? And he went in there, just watching this recently too, just the tremendous work that Stone Cold did, and he could kind of alter how he goes into matches, and throwing in random submissions that he didn't do, and the $1 Million Dream that he did, obviously from being the ringmaster, Ted DiBiase and all that kind of stuff, and the random holds that he'd do mat-wise and stuff like that. It's just the great stuff they did, the brawling aspect of it, and like I said, that final spot with it being in that sharpshooter and having the blood run down his face is just that iconic really moment that you kind of look at, a WrestleMania moment that is, with Stone Cold not giving up and being that guy that, he knows he's not going to, ever quit on you, ever be that kind of guy. He's going to gut through everything, and really, to a T, did that here in this outstanding submission match, WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, like Jamin said, just if you think of WrestleMania 13, you think of the picture of Stone Cold with the blood coming straight down and him just passing out, and then especially the way, I don't know, when you think of submission match, you don't think of Stone Cold and Bret Hart, you think of other people, and just having Stone Cold, like Jamin said, not quitting, not doing anything, just passing out. So
yeah, I absolutely love this match. This is my personal all-time favorite wrestling match. Yeah. This made me fall in love with the aspect of storytelling when it comes to wrestling. You get the wrestling quality. You can have a guy do amazing maneuvers in a ring, But when you can captivate and get somebody completely drawn in by what you're doing, and it almost seem like you're watching a moving film, live, like theater play. It's almost like you're sucked in with everything they were doing and the setup and how the finish occurred, and everything was planned out perfectly, and it was definitely that's what I love the wrestling quality of a match, but something that sets matches apart is the storytelling and really sucking me in and making me forget I'm watching a fake sport.
Yeah.
And that's what that match did for me, and definitely one of my all-time favorite matches
And
ever.
something we always, still to this day, are keen on is with the loss of storytelling in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
We don't see it that much anymore. There's only a special few guys that we see it from, and we don't really have that because some of the guys, you just have to have it, and both these guys have it. And some guys just don't have it, and these guys did, and definitely did on that night in Chi-Town at WrestleMania 13. All right, getting into the nitty-gritty here. We got the top three. Number 3, we have the Street versus Career match from WrestleMania 26 with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker after their match at WrestleMania 25, which we will get to next, actually. It goes without saying, when you have Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker in the ring in an atmosphere like WrestleMania in front of however many, 60, 70,000 that were there in Arizona that night, I believe, at 26. And after what they did at 25 and going in here with the Streak and the Career and knowing that it's the perfect send-off for Shawn Michaels, and knowing that we're not going to get anything subpar, we're not going to get anything that was less than what they did at 25. We got everything. And the send-off with Shawn going out with the attitude and slapping him and doing the throat chop or the throat cut thing like Taker does, and doing that jumping tombstone was such a great aspect. And like we talked with the last one, the storytelling that both of these guys have just ooze out of their bodies, and you don't get anything but that whenever you see a Shawn Michaels Undertaker match separately. Together you get it, and you always know the quality and the performance side of it is always going to be there. And outstanding matchup, and to me, something I will always remember as far as being a Shawn Michaels guy. That send off and having it was so great with feeling being it as it was in Arizona. It almost felt like it was meant to be, with the kind of sun going down at that exact time whenever that match got over, and going down on Shawn Michaels' career as well. Just a perfect send off when we see guys retire, come back. This is how it's done, and this is how you do it to the greatest performer we've ever seen, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26.
I believe this was the first WrestleMania I ever saw live. Was it?
I don't remember. It might have been something like that.
Because it's the first time I came over to J-Man to the dungeon.
Yeah.
First time I saw this live, for WrestleMania live, so I really didn't know what to kind of expect and all that. And then seeing this match and knowing that's right around the time I started really getting into wrestling again. I kind of was off and on fan, watching it whenever I could and stuff. But this is right around the time where I was getting to know who The Undertaker was, getting to know who Shawn Michaels really was. And then just the ending of this whole match where you didn't know when it was going to be over, where you didn't know who was going to win. You had a feeling it was going to be Taker, but the way it was close pins, close calls and all that. And like J-Man said, this is how a match should end, with the sun going down and jumping tombstone, and then Shawn Michaels officially just walking away. Mm-hmm. We've seen him multiple spot appearances refereeing in WrestleMania 28's match between Tripp and Taker, but that's how you should walk away. Wipe your hands clean and be done, and don't come back and do what Flair does.
Nothing else to prove, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. This is I personally like this one better than the 25 one, but I think it's I don't know. It wasn't really like a storytelling aspect that was different. It was just, I don't know. I just liked the way it was worked. I think that it just seemed like both guys were invincible. Like they kind of, how are we gonna put this guy down? How are you gonna put this guy down? The tombstone to the outside. You think, oh my God, that would kill Shawn Michaels. He'd be done. The termination. Oh my God, it's a Shawn Michaels last match. He's gonna, withhold everything and try to win this match, and it to me stands out as one of my all-time favorite matches from both guys, and I think the fact that they let this main event with it being not even for a title shows a lot of respect to both guys, and it means a lot. So quality-wise is definitely one of my favorite from both guys.
Yeah,
this was our number one, correct?
This one coming up is our number one, me and Quaddy's at least. We have Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker yet again from WrestleMania 25. This one to me holds a very special place in my heart. Me and obviously Robert from the Pro Wrestling Pulse as well got to attend this event live, WrestleMania 25 in Houston, Texas, at the Reliant Stadium or some shit. I don't know what the fuck it's called. It's where the Texans play. Was absolutely just blew my mind. To what two guys can go in the middle of a 20 by 20 ring and do and tell a story, and everything they could possibly do, they did in this matchup. Blew my mind beyond belief. And I'm sitting there just absolutely just jaw on the fucking floor just thinking, I don't think there's any way of ever topping something like this. And like we talked at 26, and like Ryan said, how both guys felt invincible and how it felt like nobody could be beat. I got that feel at 26 as well, but I kind of knew it was going to be the ending of Shawn's career and all this kind of stuff. And they were going to put a great match on, which they did, one of the best in history. But this one, it literally felt like Shawn Michaels possibly could have won this match and had the send-off of, the two most iconic stars in WrestleMania, really, and WWE history and all this kind of stuff, and which one would come out on top, which one are they going to have the final crown and all this kind of stuff, and the quality is let alone. This is by far one of my probably top 2 or 3 favorite matches of all time. Having the aspect of being there live, it goes without saying. Like I've talked about in the past, if you guys have a chance to go to WrestleMania, do it, because you might get that special occasion where you get a special feel like this, and this one, it's like an out-of-body experience. It is amazing to what you can say. Like you think, okay, professional wrestling, it's not going to do anything. Well, when it's special to you, special moments can happen like this, and special moments happen right here. Like Quaddy said, this is me and Quaddy's number 1 right here, and it is for a reason, because of absolutely everything they did here. Blew my mind. Outstanding matchup at WrestleMania 25.
Like Jamin said, this is our number 1, and when I think of WrestleMania, I think of stars like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Stone Cold, and all them. And then just seeing these two go head-to-head for at WrestleMania, and then just like the aspect of not knowing what's going to happen next. Like, they've let everything lay on the line, and you don't know what they're going to do next, or what move they're going to try to pull next, or who's going to do what, or who's going to even win this. So that's why I believe it's number 1.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's, you really can't say much more than what they said, and just like the match before, it's, these guys just have this chemical reaction when they're in the ring, and it just creates magical, it's a magic thing for these guys. Like, you get that with certain guys who are in the ring. You get that with guys like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels too as well. Yeah. You just get that feeling like when they're in the ring with each other, they get each other, and they know exactly what they're going to do. They want to top what they did last time. They want to do this. They want to do that. And it is right exactly what he said. The feeling of it being Shawn Michaels. This one felt like this could have been it, like where Undertaker could have lost it. Yeah. And he, it had that feeling. It definitely deserves to be where it's at.
Yeah, outstanding there. And we get to our number 1, our top 10, Pulse 10, WrestleMania match, best one of all time. Our conjoined kind of comboed list here. We have the no disqualification match for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 17. We have Rock and Austin for the title here. Really, it's everything around it. It's the quality, like we talked about. I think the quality of some of these other matches might have surpassed this match, but when you combine everything to this, the quality, having the Austin heel turn at the end, having it really be that quintessential biggest and really best match of that era, being the biggest era of all time and most substantial, being the Attitude Era, having it be in Houston, having it be in Stone Cold's backyard with the heel turn, which people could talk about. They didn't want to have him do it. He could have went back and maybe didn't do the heel turn with Vince and all this kind of stuff, but it added to it at the time. And we thought we'd see that happen with Stone Cold and Vince shaking hands at the end, and with the send off and everything they did to Rock, and it was just. It's one of those moments that you just catch, like, okay, that's going to be one of those special ones we look at for all time that, really will be cemented as the moment, that we really look towards. This is our generation's Hogan and Andre, in my opinion. I think this is really something that at that time, these were the two biggest guys going at the highest of their abilities. Stone Cold just coming back in at that, injury, and come back in, didn't know if he really had it. And this one submitted that he had everything going on here, and Rock did as well. Like we talked about, the chemistry with Shawn and Taker is really, bar none, one of the best. Austin and Rock have some of the best chemistry with two completely different, polar opposite guys, but opposites attract when it comes to wrestling, at least in these special occasions. And, Austin and Rock just had so much chemistry every time they got in the ring, and really at that quintessential, the middle matchup. I know their match at WrestleMania 19 was tremendous as well. 15 really wasn't too special, but this one was the quintessential one that really you pegged of the Attitude Era of this generation. This is the one you look at WrestleMania 17, my favorite WrestleMania of all time, and this is now the number one WrestleMania match of all time for the Pulse 10.
When you think of WWF, WWE rivalries, like great head-to-head matches, you think of Bret and Shawn, you think of Stone Cold and The Rock, you think of Taker and Kane, just guys that you would pay to see. Yeah. And whenever you have these two head-to-head at WrestleMania 17, and then having no DQ and having the championship on the line, you knew it was going to be a starstruck match. You knew everybody was going to be sitting at the edge of their seat, not knowing what's going to happen. And then having Stone Cold turn heel at the end, especially in Stone Cold's backyard, and everybody just jaw-dropping, and then ending it just being like, oh, holy shit, what just happened? Yeah. And then that just changing everything in history. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the way this match was built. I love how they got to the climax where they did the whole heel turn. Everything about this is exactly true. That the whole Attitude Era feel of it being that one big moment where you're like, okay, that's us. We're all in our early 20s. That's when we were. That's when this was big. I can see kids that are, the 15, 12, 15, looking back and being like, oh, that match that John Cena had with Triple H at WrestleMania 22, man, that was my shit. But we're 22. That was at the time, 22, 23, whatever. We're early 20s. That was our shit. That was our jam. That was our match, and that was the one we look back at and we're like, yep, that's the one we remember as being our WrestleMania match. And I can't really say much more than it being, one of the all-time greatest.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wouldn't have anything but the all-time greatest be the number one on our list for our Pulse 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. And this will now wrap up our Pulse 10 for my partners Quad and Ryan. I am J-Man, and thank you for watching another edition of Pro Wrestling Pulse, the Pulse, professional wrestling world.
Like, seriously, what is this?